4:52 to go.
You see the defense for Tennessee, they were misaligned earlier. This time, A.J. Johnson's got a kind of plus. You see they got two tight ends over here to this side of the formation. What ends up happening is right guard Will Sport, number 75, is going to get up on A.J. Johnson and seal him. And it's off to the races by Brandon Wiles. Nice block by Clayton Stadnick at the center position. You can see Butch Jones not happy. This defense has done a good job all year not giving up big plays. That time could have been a killer.
70-yard sprint after the 20-yard quarterback scramble. It is the most prolific stretch of offense in South Carolina football history. 4 consecutive games of 500 yards or more. They had 548 against Auburn, 548 against Furman, 535 against Auburn, and before that, it started with a big game of 500 even at Kentucky. Tonight, 622 yards of offense for South Carolina. Tennessee has scored 2 touchdowns on 4th down tonight. Farrell Cooper has set a school record for receiving yards with a big night. He's had a hand at 4 touchdowns. Josh Dobbs has set a Tennessee quarterback rushing record with 136, 3 touchdowns for him. It's the 3rd time under Steve Spurrier the Gamecocks have had 600 yards of offense. Their school record is 656, set against Vandy in October of 2001.
And now it'll be incumbent upon the defense, again with a 14-point lead, less than 5 minutes to play in a ball game, just keep this offense out of the end zone.
Jalen Hurd on the reception, picks up 8.
And with that amount of time, we were talking about balance earlier. But right now, Tennessee, they don't have to go to full 2-minute mode. There's still time left, but they will go up tempo. This is something that they want to do anyway, to be over the football quickly.
Dobbs has it. Steps out of bounds after picking up the 1st down. Run out by T.J. Gurley.
We've seen this Tennessee offense operate very efficiently. Right before the half, Joshua Dobbs on 3 quarterback design runs, able to pick up big yardage, ultimately converting and getting a touchdown right before half with 4 minutes. A full complement of timeouts available. Still plenty of time left to stay with the run game and be balanced in their approach.
Instead to throw. Open field stick by South Carolina.
Jordan Diggs has been in there. He came in when Go Lightly came out at that spur position. He's a big linebacker type. Spur's a bit of a hybrid. They'll flex him out and play him in coverage.
Nice grab coming back to the football by Pig Howard. Rico McWilliams back on the field for South Carolina.
Rico McWilliams just singled up on Pig Howard. Not a ton of separation. Well-placed ball by Dobbs, allowing Pig Howard to come back to it. Rico McWilliams, tight coverage, but unable to defend that pass.
3-man rush. Dobbs on the sideline. Batted away. Rico McWilliams says, not in here.
It's twice now, heading this direction, incidentally, that Dobbs has tried Rico McWilliams. Did it in the 1st half. This time, once again, the ball a little bit underthrown. Trying to get it to Josh Malone. He was able to score his 1st career touchdown last week versus Alabama in his only reception. Doesn't have a catch here tonight.
Pearson to set up 3rd down. More importantly for Tennessee, the clock goes under 3 minutes.
Starting to tick away. You see Dobbs as they continue to substitute. Working down the line of scrimmage. You see they're now in plus territory. A chance to pick up a 1st.
They'll try to do it with Dobbs' legs. Good vision. 1st down. A few more. Still going. And tracked down at the 30 by Walton.
Once again, and we saw this before in the 2-minute drill with Joshua Dobbs. That time, they designed it again where they're looking for him to pick up the yards. Defenders turn their backs to the line of scrimmage, and he's got room to run.
He saw the pressure coming. Trying to tightrope it down the sideline, incomplete. Jason Kroom was his intended receiver. Not a bad play for Tennessee. It stops the clock. And leaves 2nd and 10 with 2:12 to go. 3 timeouts remain for the Volunteers. They need 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Jonathan Johnson wide open down the seam on that one. That time, as you mentioned, it's okay. Result, of course. But it's 6 if he sees Johnson downfield.
South Carolina uses a timeout with 2:12 remaining. They pulled the red shirt off of Dobbs with Justin Worley injured last week. And he came into this game as a reputation as an erratic passer. And he got off to an inaccurate start thus far early tonight in the first quarter. But here in the fourth quarter and on this 2-minute drive, he has made some plays with his arm. It may be when Tennessee goes to the film room to look, some missed opportunities once again with some open receivers. It will be his undoing tonight.
Well, you know, he's still young in this season, but you're going to see Jonathan Johnson. He's right here, and he's just going to run straight downfield. He's going to come free. Joshua Dobbs, he just never sees him. You see him kind of stepping up into the pocket, probably took his eyes down to look at the rush before he flushed to the right. Jonathan Johnson was available. Would have been unhindered, I think. He would have walked into the end zone.
Dobbs 8 of 11 in the fourth quarter. Another completion. Pig Howard down to the 3. Clock will stop for a moment to move the chains. A gain of 27.
So just get done talking about you missed a shot, and then he throws a dart right in the middle of the defense. Pig Howard again able to come up with a reception in traffic.
Dobbs to scramble. Touchdown, Tennessee. We've got an 8-point game waiting on the extra point. 3rd rushing touchdown of the day for Dobbs. And perhaps most important on that drive, Tennessee was able to pocket all 3 timeouts.
Precious. They'll prove to be precious in this next possession, of course. South Carolina. If South Carolina gets the ball back, when we look at this play, you had 2 quarterback design runs on this possession. We had 3 in the 2-minute drill, and once again, Joshua Dobbs able to engineer a drive, get his offense in the end zone and within a touchdown. See Dobbs, he just drifts just a little bit to the left, and again, middle of the South Carolina defense, opportunity. And then the QB design run, you see it there. It will step up right underneath the pass rush, walk into the end zone untouched.
Josh Dobbs on the night has put the ball in the air 30 times. He's completed 17 of them, 228 yards. 157 yards on the ground is a Tennessee rushing record for a quarterback. And 3 touchdowns on the ground. That 1 interception sure did look like a backbreaker. And then Tennessee came back and got a score moments later.
Is that a whale of the night? You're right, that interception hurt, but they're able to get the ball back after a quick 3 and out. 228. And you look at what he's been able to contribute on the ground with 157 rushing yards. And it's not just his numbers, but the contributions of a Jalen Hurd. He's got 19 carries for 112 yards. And part of that is because of the respect the defenses have to pay to a quarterback that can run the football. Jalen Hurd, not just as a ball carrier, but also in the passing game.
If you're Tennessee, you onside it here?
They're setting it up for it. We steal another possession. We saw this last week. South Carolina was looking to try to get just that. They were trying to climb back into the ball game and steal another possession. You see Tennessee going to take a crack at getting the football back for their offense.
Aaron Medley, their freshman kicker from Lewisburg, Tennessee. Look for the high bounce. And South Carolina came jumping over the top to get it. Guess who it was? Pharaoh Cooper. He has been all over the field for Carolina tonight.
It really is remarkable. I'm starting to wonder if Pharaoh Cooper is a shapeshifter or something. I'm not sure. You see it Karam initially, and Pharaoh Cooper just comes flying up to make this grab. It took about 5 yards worth of turf up with his visor.
Beaver pelt in the face mask for Cooper.
Probably just helping out the grounds crew locate an irrigation line. He's done just about everything else for South Carolina tonight. Able to field that onside kick. Tennessee trying to grab another possession.
3 timeouts remain for the Volunteers. They need to stop, get the ball back. Mike Davis inside the 40. Butch Jones will use the timeout.
He recognizes they don't have much margin for error. You look at it, you get bad run fits. After a quarterback scramble, you give up a touchdown in a tight game, a seesaw battle. You're incapable of recovering an onside kick after you're able to drive down the football field, now need a big stop to get the ball back.
Davis picks up a couple more. Jalen Reeves Maven on the stop. That will leave 3rd down. Another Tennessee timeout. Tennessee has had missed opportunities this season. You could pinpoint that Florida loss as one that should have been a Tennessee win. I don't know how you would view this one at the end, because these are 2 evenly matched teams. I don't know that you can fairly say that Tennessee should have won this game, but they had opportunities.
Yeah, I think you could substitute could have, could have, and at moments in this game would have won this ball game. And you look at it, credit South Carolina for battling back. You look at Tennessee, were right going into halftime, knowing that they were going to get the football back. With South Carolina able to get some stops, get penetrated inside the 30-yard line 3 different times. You miss 2 field goals, you get an interception. The defense able to come up with some key stops at key moments.
So those 2 SEC losses by less than a field goal against Georgia and against Florida. And maybe that's the difference for a program that was decimated by coaching turnover and the loss of talent. Butch Jones is trying to rebuild. And they get a sack on Dylan Thompson as Barnett comes in and throws him to the ground. Thompson has wanted a flag all game, and he hasn't gotten it. And I don't know if he should or shouldn't. But that's going to be a loss of 8. And Tennessee takes a timeout with 1:33 to go and 4th and 12 coming.
You see it's a short rollout. Thompson didn't like what he saw. Didn't want to throw the football away. Yeah, you see it there at the end.
It was the extra drag after Dylan Thompson was already down.
See Mike Matulis come in there. They missed him early in the season. Thompson goes down, takes the sack.
It didn't help that he got a shove afterwards.
And he's been doing that a lot tonight. And more than any offensive lineman would ever want to say, you turn around and look at the film and you see your quarterback having to pick himself up off the ground after these pass attempts. That time he ate the football.
So 1:33 to go, and South Carolina looking at a 4th and 12. Will bring the punt team on. Evan Berry has had some big returns for Tennessee this season. He hasn't had a chance tonight. This will be Cameron Sutton in to return this one. Tyler Hull to punt it away. Volunteers out of timeouts. They've got 10 on the line.
They're coming after.
Can't get it. Sutton asks for a fair catch and lets it hop. It'll be down at the 15 with 1:23 remaining. 30-yard punt from Tyler Hole.
We've seen this before. You know, we look at this South Carolina team. This time, this would be to tie it, but a defense that has had difficulty in fourth quarters. We touched on it earlier. You look at the leads. 13 points Missouri, 14 points at Kentucky. Their defense in Kentucky, final go-ahead score was a pick six on the offense.
And Tennessee afford to run it with the clock situation and no timeouts. A pass for a first down and a big gain to Big Howard. He's all the way past the 45.
So Big Howard again. Von Pearson was underneath, drug TJ Gurley inside, opened up just enough room to get the ball over top to Big Howard.
Gain of 31. Dobbs, pump fake. He's got all day if he wants it. Incomplete. 61 seconds remain as Tennessee tries for a furious fourth quarter comeback. They've been down 2 touchdowns twice.
Keeping in mind, too, as well, that South Carolina defense has to be aware of Josh Dobbs. When they send vertical routes downfield, they have to be aware, especially at the second level. They've only got 3 down linemen in the game. And when Josh Dobbs, if he doesn't like it, tucks and runs, he has to get to the boundary. But he is a threat in the run game.
Out of the backfield, he finds Hurd. First down and out of bounds. Just shy of the marker, I believe now. We'll see if they give him the first. They'll mark it just before the yard line that he needed. So it'll be 3rd and short. That's not quite irrelevant, but the game clock is the main issue. Dobbs, quarterback run. First down will stop the clock for a moment. Scramble out of bounds will help.
That's the piece. That's what we're talking about, where obviously these are passing downs, but you look at Josh Dobbs. If he can leak out and get downfield, get positive yardage, and make sure that he gets over there and out of bounds, get the clock stopped and allow the offense to reset.
Over the middle. Complete. Big Howard. 43 seconds. Plenty of time.
An eternity, and you see Dobbs able to get his offense set. Not overly urgent. They're over the football, ready to snap it. Want to make sure they get in the right play and communicate.
Incomplete. 26 seconds left. And now that length of time they took to get that play off may limit them in what they can do in the run game.
Ended up taking a little bit longer than he probably would have liked as he walked up and down the line. As you mentioned when you first noted, 40-plus seconds on the clock. You lead close to 20 beyond that. And with 26 seconds to play, clock stopped. But now you've got 3 more downs to play with.
But no timeouts left. It'll be tough to run in between the hash marks. So Dobbs will choose to throw. He's flush. He can run. He's got all day in front of him. A flip for a first down and out of bounds is Hurd. 19 seconds left.
No timeouts. The clock stopped. Jalen Hurd was able to stand right on the boundary. And Dobbs, as you mentioned, could have tucked and run it. Saw a chance to get it downfield, and South Carolina wants to make sure that they get this right.
Twice this season, South Carolina's defense has folded under pressure in the fourth quarter. A surprising loss at home to Missouri against a Missouri team they had stuffed and forced to punt on 10 consecutive possessions. And then at Kentucky, they could not stop Kentucky's Wildcat offense. And they're off, and South Carolina threw a costly pick 6. And now with 19 seconds left, Steve Spurrier needs just one stop from his defense, with Tennessee looking at a 1st and goal from the 9.
There in that huddle, you saw Bryson Williams You got a turnover. Tennessee trying to throw it into the end zone earlier in this half. We've seen South Carolina hold up the big goal line stand on a 4th down run in the first quarter. That's what this defense needs to be thinking about. You got to learn from those previous failures. Right now, you got to think about those recent successes in this game, knowing that you've got a 19-second clock and a 1st and goal scenario to defend the end zone.
1,245 yards of total offense tonight combined, and it's all about these final 9 yards for Tennessee. Dobbs, end zone, incomplete. Rico McWilliams, another denial. Swatted away from Pig Howard.
Great job by Rico McWilliams. We've mentioned him on a number of occasions. And you see him there, able to get his left hand across and in front. Pig Howard didn't like the contact. McWilliams was flagged earlier in this half for a PI. We've seen him defend a couple. You can see both of these teams starved for victory. And it's coming down to the wire.
2nd and goal, 15 seconds left. They roll the pocket, pressure coming. Dobbs, end zone, touchdown Tennessee! Jason Kroom was all alone. An extra point away from a tie game. Bedlam in the Tennessee stands.
Probably some celebrations on I-40 somewhere right now as well. You see that? Yet another touchdown scoring drive engineered by Joshua Dobbs, and he is growing up before our very eyes.
The snap was high, the hold bailed him out. And with 11 seconds to go, we are locked at 42.
Jason Kroom, number 18. He just stops, makes it in the end zone. He's all by himself and unaccounted for. South Carolina brought edge pressure from either side. A lot of attention to Von Pearson. And nobody left. Jason Kroom with only one other reception in this game. And he is able to get maybe the most important one of the night to tie it up.
Remember when we met with Steve Spurrier yesterday, and he was lamenting the fact that he's only gone to a few overtime games in his career, and it always seems to come against Tennessee.
Yes, you know what? You're right. He sure did.
And perhaps the biggest win in Tennessee history prior to the Fiesta Bowl in '98 was knocking off Florida at home in overtime. In a game that saw the goalposts and a couple of CBS goalpost cameras end up in the Tennessee River.
He's headed for another one here tonight. And we mentioned earlier, you know, the meaningfulness of this game, not only to these two programs, it's obviously a special one. Kid from Johnson City, Tennessee. But you look at Joshua Dobbs, a kid from Alpharetta, Georgia, and he has been the difference maker for Tennessee here tonight. That quarterback position, not only keeping plays alive with his legs, but keeping his head in the game. Didn't let that interception rattle him. And Tennessee was able to knot it back up on an impressive drive.
Not a bad return for Cody Gibson. Tennessee says they have the football. Do they? Cody Gibson took it out to the 40 on the squib kick. I thought for sure he was down. And it will be South Carolina football with 7 seconds remain.
Down for Carolina.
Keep in mind, Cody Gibson, the former offensive lineman. He hadn't caught a whole lot of balls, not known for their ball handling skills, but it looks to me like he was down.
I don't know. That ball was out. I thought it got punched out on his way down, which is why it ended up below his waist and not near his shoulder pads. And it wasn't in the hands, but in the legs of the Tennessee defender.
Hard to tell from that angle.
The previous ruling of the runner being down is under further review.
And you see there, and you wonder, that time, looked like it was Justin Coleman who came in.
That's out.
That ball
is out. And then the next question is who recovered it.
Well, look at his right knee. Here's the ball. And was the ball? Can we see if the ball's out before his right knee touches? It looks like it is. That ball's so low. But the question is, can you make out? You could assume that the football was out earlier, but it's hard to see it come out initially.
Well, I saw it out between his legs with his knees still in the air. Question is, was his shoulder down? Was his elbow down? It's a moot point, depending on who recovered it.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
So 7 seconds remain.
Cody Gibson breathing a sigh of relief. He comes over there. Used to wear a 70 number. Moved him over to tight end. Out there on the return team, and almost was a near catastrophe.
Wilds. And that's how regulation will end in a Wild game. 42 all. And we're headed to overtime.
From the producers of 30 for 30, sports documentaries, now available in bite size. Watch the Emmy Award-winning series Where You Want and When You Want, artfully crafted by Blue Moon. New episodes available online at espn.com/30for30/shorts.
We're tied at 42 and headed to overtime, and we're only here because Joshua Dobbs was able to engineer an 85-yard drive with no timeouts remaining. And a guy who set the Tennessee quarterback rushing record today did it not just with his legs, but through the air. A couple of chunk plays to eat up that yardage and put Tennessee in position. From 9 yards out, Dobbs was able to fire it to the end zone.
He's definitely feeling it. You can imagine the level of confidence he must be able to draw from putting together two-minute type drives at the end of either half. One to gain momentum heading into the first half, and then of course the second to get his team back into contention. In this instance, force an overtime period. You see Joshua Dobbs, one of the captains tonight for Tennessee.
By the way, Butch Jones spent that entire time discussing that kick return with the officials right in front of the Tennessee bench. They said the call was confirmed via video replay, which means that they saw visual evidence to suggest that Cody Gibson was down.
South Carolina has won the toss and decided to go on offense. Tennessee, first down. I'm sorry. Correction, they chose to go on defense. First down, Tennessee.
So here's your refresher on NCAA overtime rules. The coin toss has been decided. Each team with one possession from the opponent's 25 per overtime until we have a winner. Game clock's off, And when we start the third overtime, offenses must go for a 2-point conversion.
We've seen tonight Tennessee have their difficulties once they get the football into this area of the field, in the third quarter especially.
16th overtime game for Tennessee. South Carolina has lost a pair of games to Tennessee. Tennessee's overtime record is second only to Missouri for the most all-time overtime wins in NCAA history. Missouri came into the season 11-5 in extra periods. And to both kickers' delight, they're avoiding the north end zone, where 3 field goals have been missed tonight.
You had to know that that had been part of the consideration.
Dobbs on a design quarterback run, and it's played perfectly by South Carolina. A game perhaps of one. Gerald Dixon with the stop. We talked about Tennessee's offensive line struggling all season, but this running quarterback has given them a new lease on life.
Yeah, we've seen it, even the yards before contact. Those were scarce before Joshua Dobbs was inserted into their offensive lineup, able to get running backs cleaner upfield.
This is Hurd, and he is bowling over Gamecocks to pick up a Tennessee first down.
Jalen Hurd. Talk about Joshua Dobbs coming of age, a true freshman in Jalen Hurd tonight. Not only just as a ball carrier, but as a receiver, lining up outside and also out of the backfield and finishing his runs and carries with authority.
Hurd taken down in the backfield. Bryson Williams got a little banged up on that tackle.
Bryson Williams, we mentioned earlier, got the interception of Joshua Dobbs earlier in the fourth quarter, but a sure tackler in the open field, and that time able to come up and make the tackle on Jalen Hurd after the reception.
Second and long. Hurd stretching. Open field stop by Jonathan Walton.
We talked to the Tennessee coaches, and they talked about the speed of the South Carolina defense and how active they were. This time Jonathan Walton filling in for Sky Moore, known for his closing speed. You saw him make up ground quickly on Jalen Hurd to deny the yardage.
End zone, incomplete, no flag. Kroom the intended receiver, Gurley the coverage. And Tennessee forced to go for 3 on the first possession of overtime.
See Dobbs just a little too far out in front. Gurley on Jason Kroom's back. Kroom made that tying touchdown reception all by himself in the end zone. That time had plenty of company with TJ Gurley on.
32-yard attempt for Aaron Medley. Got it. South Carolina knows what it needs to do, trailing by 3 in overtime number 1 in Columbia.
Coming into the game, the Tennessee defense, we mentioned that they're good versus the pass, have been coming into this game. Pretty strong on third down as well, outside of the Bama matchup they had a week ago. But in the red zone, last in the SEC, every single trip that their opponents have made down inside their 20, they've come away with points. 100% for opposing team's offense is facing this Tennessee D. And of course, Dylan Thompson takes the field. Field goal ties it. Touchdown secures the victory for the Gamecocks.
South Carolina's offense is on a record-setting pace this season, and tonight they are averaging more than 9 yards per play. 71st play of the night on this snap for South Carolina. Pressure coming. Thompson taken down. Quarterback sack by Corey Majit. It is the 4th of the night for Tennessee.
You talk about it, coming off the edge. Watch him get upfield quickly and close. Get skinny on the edge versus Brandon Shell, who was banged up earlier. And Kurt Majit is rounding into form. He missed a couple of seasons with a knee injury. That's a big sack. You push them further. That's a 52-yard field goal if they don't make any yards.
Edges crashing again. They got him again. Back-to-back sacks. This time, Derek Barnett.
We talked about it earlier, how much they like Derek Barnett. And Kurt Majit, this time it's the left end. Derek Barnett working against Corey Robinson. And he just edges him right now. Both of them speed rushes and running the arc. That time from Dylan Thompson's blind side. Now you're looking at a South Carolina offense doing nothing but going backwards.
Their kicker's long is 45 this season. 3rd and 25. Dylan Thompson running for his life. And a 4th and 25 coming up. Thompson threw it away. South Carolina had a 2-touchdown 4th quarter lead. They allowed an 85-yard Tennessee drive to tie the game when the Volunteers had no timeouts.
Coach Spurrier's down on the field right now picking up his call sheets.
This was in the opposite end zone. And now Elliott Fry, whose season long is 45. Not even close. And for the 3rd time this season, South Carolina has seen a big 4th quarter lead melt away in SEC play. Butch Jones has his first SEC win of the season. And a hard-fought, heartfelt victory for the Volunteers, scrambling their way back for the win.
Seeing the end of this game, the true freshman, Jalen Hurd, Derek Barnett with a sack, and then the veteran and Kurt Majit coming off the edge. You can't say enough about the fight in this Tennessee Volunteer football team. Coach Jones mentioned it. He wasn't sure he had a single guy on his team that had ever won an away game that involved an airplane ride. If they out on a bus, they had an outside shot. The guys actually knew what it looked like to win. This is the 2nd year under Butch Jones' tenure at Tennessee. Could be a building block for the balance of this season as they work towards the postseason.
Matt, with 1 minute and 51 seconds to go, South Carolina was up 2 touchdowns. That lead evaporated quickly thanks to the play of Josh Dobbs. Dylan Thompson was thrown around like a rag doll tonight by Tennessee's defense. Sacked 5 times, including twice in overtime.
It's amazing how the South Carolina offense, he was one of the better protected quarterbacks when you look at the number of dropbacks in the SEC. Only 4 other quarterbacks have faced less pressure. But in key moments, and especially here tonight, Tennessee was able to get pressure and not only sack but harass Dylan Thompson. Were it not for the heroics of Pharaoh Cooper, there wasn't a ton to speak of. You look at South Carolina, fueled by the efforts of number 11, a big run by Brandon Wilds. You look at the Tennessee defense, was able to come up big. I was talking red zone defense, Tom. They had the ball at the 25-yard line. They were nowhere near the red zone by the time that possession ended.
4 straight SEC losses for South Carolina. And the reaction from the Tennessee sideline. Butch Jones, the Saugatuck, Michigan native, has his first SEC win of this season. And the Volunteers continue their rebuild as they take a step closer to the postseason. They now need to win 2 of their last 3 to make it there. They've got Kentucky, Missouri and Vandy left.
You look at them coming into this game in conference play, only 16 points. This time they're able to knot it up and hand South Carolina yet another fourth quarter collapse loss. You see it there. Missouri, Kentucky, and now Tennessee. And South Carolina is left to pick up the pieces yet again. A prolific offensive night, but not enough at the back end, offensively or defensively, to come away with a win.
This game was seemingly over when Josh Dobbs took over at his own 15-yard line with no timeouts remaining, and what had been an erratic arm through the previous 3+ quarters. And then all of a sudden, a guy who's been unstoppable with his legs turned unbeatable with his arm.
They've had weapons at Tennessee all season at receiver, and when Justin Worley had time to work, he could be very dangerous. But what Dobbs has brought is exactly what this offense has needed and lacked, is an ability to open up a run game, draw some attention from the defense to allow their running backs and even the quarterback to contribute with a rushing attack, but also neutralize pressure. You take a guy like Joshua Dobbs, who's as dangerous as he is and has proven to be tonight in the QB run game, and you're loath to collapse that pocket too quickly and break contain. It makes it dangerous, and you can see why every team covets a mobile quarterback.
Heather Mintz is standing by with the winning coach, Butch Jones.
Coach, you kept talking about the competitive character of this team. Once again, we saw it tonight. Talk about your win.
Resilient, great composure at the end. We knew we were going to win the game all week. It was just a confidence that we had all week in our preparation, and it was like slow motion. We just knew we'd find a way to win the football game. We needed this. Vol Nation needed this.
Talk about Josh Dobbs and his performance tonight.
Well, great performance. Very composed young man, very poised, but it was everyone. Our defensive line in overtime really dominated the line of scrimmage.
Your first SEC win. How do you build on this performance versus Kentucky?
Well, again, we'll take a bye week. We'll get ready. Kentucky's a good football team, but we're going to enjoy this one.
You should enjoy it, Coach. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the fourth quarter and overtime, Josh